Oscar Bevis, IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast here in Bolton. MTK Fight Night is tomorrow. The fighters are weighed in, joined by Mr. Joe Ham. Nice to meet you, mate. How are
Yeah,
we?
how are you doing, mate? Good to meet you. All good.
Was there a little bit of tension at the pre-weigh-in? I was just looking over and I saw you step on the scales. I saw Jack's team have a little look. And I don't know if I'm just making this up, but was there a little bit of tension?
No, there was just a bit of communication, but we were just, it was all good. It was all nothing major. It was just obviously we're all good. Fight's on, fight's ready to go.
I don't know when you was last on, but you signed for MTK 6 months ago, so we might as well just jump into that quickly before we talk about tomorrow night and Jack. Was it no-brainer?
Yeah, 100%. It was. I felt obviously with the Scottish contingent as well, with Josh Taylor winning the world title and then Lee doing as well. Whenever the crowd's back, there's going to be some big shows in Scotland, so it's a natural move to join a good team. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. And then when they offered this fight, it was good to finally get a fight. It's been a year and a bit out of the ring, so I had to jump in.
Did you speak to? Well, you must have spoke to some of the Scottish guys as well. I know Lee Mcgregor's here. I imagine he's there to see you. I don't know how close you are with all of them, but did you actually speak to him about what sort of MTK's provided for them? Yeah,
because we always had. One of my dad's other fighter, Reece McFadden, he's with MTK. Then my best mate growing up, Bateson, was with them. So we were actually down at the Golden Contract and stuff when his fight fell through. So I liked the way, and I've known all the guys for MTK for years. So it was a natural thing. It was always going to happen. It was just a matter of when. So when I came out of contract with Morrison, it was just a case of tying up the ends, and then here we go, straight into a fight. That was one of the main reasons. They had the opportunities to give you shows behind closed doors. Was up in Scotland, I don't know when crowds will be back, so it's kind of just hang about waiting to fight. You could be there, or you never know when they're going to have crowds back,
Yeah, the last thing we needed was more Scots. I feel like every single Scottish fighter's with MTK now.
Yeah, it's good, and it's good because as it's some depth, like, do you know what I mean? There's always has been a lot of talent from Scotland, but it's just not had the chance to show it with TV and stuff like that. So now, as Josh is a prime example, he's the leader of it. So it's obviously he'll bring, when he beats Ramirez, it becomes unified, and then by that time next year, hopefully crowds are back, and then it makes sense to have shows in the Hydro. Or I'm sure he's desperate to go to Edinburgh Castle, but still Scotland. Doesn't matter where it is.
And I suppose
what's they're on.
Well, yeah, I mean, whatever Josh does is going to be mega. So I can imagine you've got sort of one eye on that. But
100%.
with MTK, there's so many good in-house fights as well.
Yeah.
And you need in-house fights now. Obviously, this ain't going to last forever.
Yeah.
But in-house fights are easy to make. Like you and Jack, I can imagine that's.
It was just
straight phone call. Yeah. There we go.
That was it. It was just a phone call that says, "Would you fight him?" Yes. Guessing he got the same. Would you fight him? Yep. Easy. You don't have to say, I don't want. I might wait a couple of fights and fight him. It's just a case of fight. As you says, you could. Whereas before, some people would be like, "Nah, I would rather have 2 or 3 6-rounders, and then before I step into a big shot." Whereas now, you don't know where your opportunity's going to come, so you've got to be ready to take it. And if you don't, it's just going to bypass you. You could be spending the next 6 months to another year waiting on a fight that might never come.
Did you think about having potentially a 4 and 6 rounder? Like you said, obviously the cards are smaller, so there isn't room for people. You need those fights that are going to sort of generate the real interest, which you and Jack does.
Yeah.
But because you've been inactive since back end of 2019, did you think about the 4 and 6?
No, so when I first signed it, when I spoke to Jamie Conlon, that's what he says. You'll probably just get a 4 or 6 just to get a run out because you've been out the ring. Then this fight got offered. You don't need. End of the day, it's a fight. Why have 4 or 6 rounder against a journeyman that doesn't really get you up for, might get you a couple of rounds, but you'd rather just have a big fight. And the sparring's been like fights, so it's been a proper camp. Do you know what I mean? So I don't have to worry about doing a 4 or 6. It's not as I've kept myself at the gym for a full year. I've been training, so it's just a case of putting it all together now.
And like I said, although there is the inactivity, jumping straight back into a big fight, do you feel like this is the second stage of your career? Obviously, you got the 2 defeats, put them behind you. I can imagine with the time in the gym, you probably feel like a different fighter, a better fighter as well. Same with MTK. Is this like stage 2?
Yeah, 100%. It feels, even though nothing has really changed, it feels as if a lot has changed, if that makes sense. Like, we changed a different gym and training different places and it was just a whole different scene. I just felt, it feels as if a lot has changed, but nothing really has, you know what I mean? But a mindset, so I'm in a better place than what I was going into the fight, with the Kez fight and stuff, so I feel so much better in training, just in general, so I'm looking forward to finally getting back in there after a hard 16, 17 months, I think it was, since the last time I was in there. So the badge says I'm always in the gym, I'm always fit, so it's not as if I've been out the ring partying for a year and then just diving back into a training camp.
What was it like for you? I know it's sort of become such a mundane question, how was your pandemic? But what was it actually like for you? Did you have to go back and graft any work?
Yeah,
or?
we worked. So I worked for a company called City Building. So it's like the council of Glasgow. So we were working right through the pan. Didn't get any furlough or anything.
Did boxing ever come sort of, or did you ever like a feeling that boxing would have to come secondary when things returned, or did you always know that when it's back?
No, when it's back,
what,
like they give me 6 weeks off every fight, all sorted.
Yeah.
So
Superb.
so I'm basically full time when I have to. So it's all been good, but I don't know. It was the pandemic when it first started. Obviously, we had bought a house, meant to move into the house on the 27th of March, then lockdown happened and we get delayed 6 months. So we had the house bought, ready to go, but we couldn't move in, and it was all just. So we're living out of boxes. That was the worst part about it. But then when we finally moved in and things slowly get back to normal, and then it happened, shut down again, then it get back to normal, then it shut down again, and then hopefully this is the last.
And I think you're still in a worse place than us, aren't you? In Scotland?
Yeah, we were down here, the shops we were in yesterday, we were at Sports Direct and stuff just to get. So we can't do that in Scotland until the 26th.
You have to move to England.
Yeah, no, don't say that.
All right.
No, but as you say, it's just stupid things like that, shops being open and stuff. But hopefully, this is the end of it, man.
Yeah. Well, look, boxing's going to return with fans soon, and like I said, nights at the Hydro and all that's to come. But it starts with Jack Bateson, touted to do good things. I've heard a couple of the next Josh Warrington tags, and that you are his biggest step up, and by a mile as well. He hasn't had sort of the couple of fights before you. You're his biggest step up by a long way. And it's your chance to derail the journey, I suppose.
Yeah,
for him.
100%. I don't like it's him to fight as if I'm here to stop him. I'm here to take my own. I want to beat Jack and then hopefully fight for the British title. I want to push on myself, do you know what I mean? So, and this is just a fight that's to get myself back in it, and it's one I was happy to take.
Yeah, and Super Bantam's such a good division as well. And I actually said this to Jack when I interviewed him earlier. I don't feel like it gets enough love.
Nah,
people will say
not.
like the welter scene's good and all this. The Super Bantamweight division is such a good division.
Yeah, definitely. It's even like super bantamweight, featherweight. There's only is 5-6 pounds between all of them. Do you know what I mean? So it's not as if it's like everybody's got. There's good fights out there for everybody. So it's just a case of just taking them when they're offered to you.
And the British is the target.
Yeah, 100%. Has been. So I had an eliminator against Tyrone McCulloch, and then I was meant to fight an eliminator again against Michael Ramirez. That fell through, and it's just been different things. And obviously the Kez fight come up. And since then, it's just obviously been nothing. So this is like the first time it's back in. You beat Jack, and then you're right back in it.
Where do you think you are? Because I don't really know where to place you in a way. Because obviously the 2 losses case, we know how good of an amateur he was, and he's had a steady pro career. I know he had that defeat to Mark Leach, but him. And then you look at Tyrone, was in the golden contract, which was meant to find the next superstar.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So you've lost to 2 real good guys. So I don't really know where to place you. Are you British level? Are you European level?
Yeah, real 2. I've lost to 2 real horrible, awkward southpaws.
Oh yeah,
and that's the way
Case
you put
is horrible,
it.
Isn't it?
Like, but McCulloch is even worse. Like, it's mad. Everybody says it. He's good at what he does, and you kind of take that away. Same with Kez. Like, so it's just. So I'm looking forward to just finally getting. I've had the experience of that, so I don't think I'm not bothered by southpaws and stuff anymore. I think I've dealt with it. It is what it is. There's no point in looking back on it. It's in the past. And I'm just ready to move on. It's not as if it's like affected me in any way. I don't one of the ones that dwells on it. It's just rub yourself down, back in the gym, get on with it.
What have you been impressed with when you look at Jack? Or have you watched? Are you someone who watches a lot of the fights? Would you leave that to the team? Or
yeah, well, I've known Jack obviously for years growing up, so obviously I knew he was always a very, very skillful boxer. We had the same when our Scottish national coach, the guy called Kevin Smith, and then when he left, he took Bradford College. And Jack was there. So when we went down to train with Kev, like 10 years ago, Jack was just coming through. So I ended up knowing from there, and then when I went on to Team GB, he got on it as well. So I always knew him, different weights and stuff, but now he's obviously turned pro. He's comparing it my way. I've seen some clips, not very much, but still, it was always inevitable. Like the same people, the same with Kez McCulloch. You all boxed amateurs. It's all kind of the same faces you see. So now we've just happened to come together as a pros, and then I'm looking forward to it, and it should be a good fight.
Yeah, cracking card, cracking fight, and I feel like there's a couple that you look at and go, yeah, that could be a show stealer, and I've said it to everyone who's fighting that yours could be a show stealer, but it actually could be.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Jack is sort of quite aggressive
at
times when he fights as well, so I don't know if he's going to go forward, and we know you can box, we know you can have a tear up.
Yeah, so that's what I would like for tear up. But
please have a tear up.
But it's easier said than done. So we've trained to fight, we've trained to box, so whatever it is comes to the day, we're ready to go.
Good stuff. Before we let you go, I feel like you have to ask every Scottish fighter as the law. Taylorramirez, you're not going to tell me Taylor's going to lose. I know you're not. But tell me how that fight goes.
I just think Josh too much. So about maybe it was 2016, we went to the wild card and we watched Ramirez spar with a guy. He was called Frankie Gomez. You hear him? He was very good, American back then. He was Manny Pacquiao sparring partner and stuff. And Ramirez was decent then, but Josh is too much. Josh is just he's got something in him. He's just not right. But he's very, very. The only person that beats Josh is Josh, if that's possible, and I don't think it is. He's the most sorest loser I've ever seen in my life. Hates it. So I can't see. I just think Josh got too much in every department. But it's in Vegas. It's, you never know. But I can't see anything else than a Josh win.
With Josh, are we looking at someone that is going to go down as the greatest Scottish fighter of all time?
100%. He's not. You could say he's more or less there. Like he's not that far away from it. Obviously, Ricky's there. Ricky's freeweight world champion. Ricky. A lot of people overlook Ricky, but you can't deny what he's done. Freeweight. He's carried Scottish boxing for the last 10, 15 years. But now obviously there's a new crop coming through. But I feel Josh is just overtaking. He's a different. He can take it to a different level. It's just a shame that he's passed. Obviously with the Prograis fight, but the last fight is behind closed doors, so and his fight's in Vegas, so a lot of people are going to miss the best fights, and all the best fights for him are going to be in America. So it's whether they can get big fights back to Edinburgh or Glasgow, whereas I'm sure he'll fight if he moves up. He's going to want people like Terence Crawford and stuff. You're only going to get them. Got Terence Crawford to Scotland before, but he's not coming. Yeah, he's not coming back. Do you know what I mean? So all the big fights naturally offer, but a lot of Scottish people will be raging that they can't go to Vegas. I would be one of them.
Yeah,
I think I would be there as well, but it's a shame.
Great time, innit? And obviously you've got Lee McGregor here,
Yeah,
pretty much on the verge.
Yeah, we done.
If it's
28
not next, it'll be after.
We done like 28 rounds sparring with Lee for this fight, so he came through right. He boxed on the Friday night and came through and sparred me 8 rounds on Thursday, Thursday. Then the next Tuesday, Thursday, So he obviously came back home to Edinburgh. Then one of Pedge's amateur coach, Lee's amateur coach, Pedge, who's always in he does our corners as well. So he tied it up, and so Lee boxed Guerfi on the Friday and was through sparring me on Thursday, Thursday,
There was Lee sitting there on Instagram like he was just relaxing with a family, and you were sparring him.
Yeah, we done like 28 rounds over the space of 2 weeks, and it was quality. Can't get any better than that. So that's been good. And Lee, obviously, he'll 100% he'll be a world champion. It's not just a matter, as you say, it's not if, it's when. Just obviously, but you're looking at the champion. It's hard to fight. The mandatory he'll have is a Nui. You know what I mean? There's level as well, do you know what I mean? So Lee's not daft. You want to have a couple of big fights before, then hopefully now he moves on and you carry on. But if the money's right and you get offered the fights, you can't knock him back.
Yeah.
And 100%, I know Lee, like, he will never knock that back. If you get the opportunity, you take that with both hands.
And with someone like Lee, just quickly, I don't want to keep you for too long because obviously it's quite night tomorrow.
Not doing it anyway.
But with someone like Lee, obviously, I know he's gone through his career undefeated, but and same with Josh, I suppose, in such a limited amount of fights they've got so far. Do you look at that and almost think, I don't know, 6 fights time, say you go on a 6-win streak, you actually are on the verge of... because domestic level is so high. If you beat a domestic fighter, you're beating someone who's very good. Yeah,
because all the top domestic fighters, you've got Brad Foster, who's British and Commonwealth, but then the other side of that, Gamal Yafai's got the European. So there's very good fighters there. It's just obviously just getting the right opportunities and be willing is always keeping yourself, win this fight and be training, because you never know when somebody could get COVID 2 weeks out for a fight and then an opportunity's there. So you don't want to be one of the ones that's just missing opportunities because you're not in the gym or whatever. So that's one thing I've always said, keep myself ready and ready to go.
I like the Scots, but I can't have you having more belts than the English.
No.
I've got to have more English champions.
Josh is surely going to be pound for pound.
If
he beats Ramirez, how can you knock that back? Do you know what I mean? He is very good, and if he goes up again, the fight's out there for that is unbelievable.
So good, such an exciting time.
Then hopefully when he brings it back, then we have a big show in the Hydro.
Yeah,
then it suits us all.
Brilliant, and it all starts tomorrow. Just a final word for anyone who would like to be at your fight and can't and will be tuning in.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've always got good support in Glasgow as well, so it'll be good to finally just get everyone. At least it's on IFL, and so it'll be good to everybody to watch. It's free to watch, so that's good. I'm looking forward to it.